In English, there's a common proverb we may have heard. Look at the cup half full, don't look at it half empty. You can look at a thing that's exactly the same, but depending on your perspective, you'll leave with something different. And this is something understood in a hadith Qudsi, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, أَنَا عِنْدَ ظَنِّ عَبْدِي بِي, that depending on how my servant thinks of me, I will treat him accordingly. Perspective is extremely important in our lives. Sometimes we like to brace ourselves for something, so we always think about the most negative outcome. And in the process, all we're doing is torturing ourselves. So to give you an example, tomorrow I have a meeting, and it's a job interview, and in my mind, I'm already defeated. I'm telling myself I'm going to fail, it's going to be miserable, I'm not going to get the job, and I think about every negative possibility. That is a negative perspective. Islamically, we're always told, look for the positive in everything that you do. This applies to our worldly affairs and it applies to our ukhrawi affairs as well. Whether it's a job interview, whether it's a meeting that I have, whether it's purchasing something, whatever it may be, psychologically, the way I think about something will be better for me if I am positive. Because if you look at reality, tomorrow's going to be my job interview, for instance, and I'm sitting there telling myself, I'm going to fail, I'm going to have a miserable experience. That is not going to change the outcome. In fact, according to certain psychologists, they say, when you have a negative approach to something, the likelihood of it being negative is higher because you're already changing your attitude before you come inside. And that's going to rub off onto the people you interact with. And we learned this from the Sunnah as well. In one instance, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was passing by the group of Quraysh, the disbelievers, who called him, instead of Muhammad, they called him Mudhammam. Hamd in Arabic means to praise. Them means to humiliate, means to disparage, to talk negatively about. So Muhammad means somebody who is praised. So he's passing by, and instead of being addressed as Muhammad, he's being addressed as Mudhammam. Anybody in his shoes would have reacted viscerally, negatively. However, when the Sahaba noticed this and they felt, heartbroken that their Prophet ﷺ is being described so negatively, look at the perspective of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He says, why are you upset? They're not talking about me. My name is Muhammad. They're talking about Mudhammam, who's somebody completely different, so don't worry about it. They're talking about somebody else. That's what you call looking at the cup half full, not half empty. Sometimes we have these interactions even when we go to the store, even when we go outside. Somebody may make a sly comment. If you're a Muslim, if you're a sister wearing a hijab, or you're a person praying salah, somebody makes a comment and they pass by. Yes, if I have the opportunity to educate, I'll educate the person. But if the person made a comment and they left, now I'm sitting in my car, raging, frustrated, fuming, angry. If I just make a mental shift, a psychological shift, and I just tell myself, you know what? Perhaps that person wasn't talking about me. Perhaps I misheard. The only thing that's going to happen with that psychological shift is you're going to have a better day. Nobody's going to take your money. Nobody's going to come back and haunt you. So Islamically, we always try to look at the cup half full, not half empty. As the new year begins, at least in terms of the Gregorian calendar, not Hijri calendar, which is a separate topic, but as the new year begins, we try to approach this with the cup half full, not half empty. And I promise you, and this is a lesson for myself as well, there are only going to be positive outcomes. Nothing negative is going to happen. Whether it's a job interview tomorrow, whether I'm applying for my college, whether I have a business transaction, whether it's a sale, whatever it is, if from my mind I already succeed, then worst case scenario, I don't succeed, but at least psychologically I have some comfort. But if I already am defeated psychologically, then I have lost two battles. I may not get the job tomorrow and I'm suffering until that point as well. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to be inspired by the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as well as the hadith of Qudsi where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَنَا عِنْدَ ظَنِّ عَبْدِي بِي, I will treat my slave according to his assumption of me. Jazakumullahu khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.